Nate's got a couple to give away. And I need to say, for me, the differentiator between the best in the world and people that live is this hungry spirit. Don't ever lose what you just did on the ice today. Come in, be excited, want to be better. I told some of you about Haley when I got to be the head coach of the national women's team. My first practice, Haley came up to me and she said, "I'm old." She said, "I want you to teach me more and I want you to make me better." Here's the best of that. And she wants to do that. So never give that up. Always stay hungry. Always stay hungry. You might make some mistakes like me. You know, nobody in my lifetime has made more mistakes than me. Nobody. But you know what? I have that funny ability to not worry about the mistakes and just keep moving. Do you know the only record? Anybody know Michael Jordan? You know that name? If you don't, you have to Google that name. Michael Jordan holds only one record in the NBA. You might think it's the most points. No. You might think it's the most championships. No. He holds a record for most misses with the basketball. He's the greatest player ever. Agreed? Holds the record for the most misses. So in other words, he must have tried it on that. So today, we want to talk a little bit, this camp wants to talk a little bit about this thing. The difference, what do we talk on ice? That this whole camp is really about performance equals your potential minus, what is it, girl? One more time. Come on, you gotta sing it out with me. Performance equals potential minus interference. Awesome. Very good. Performance equals potential minus interference. Boy, that's a great thought. That is a great thought. Because you don't have to be Wayne Gretzky. You know, I played my whole 15 seasons against Wayne Gretzky. And Gretzky, how many points has he got, guys? Like 3,900. How many? 3,900. So he's got almost 3,000 points. I had a measly 600. If I compared Gretzky to me, I'm nothing. I'm a peon. But you know, a lot of nights when we play in Gretzky's team, we won. Right? So here's what I want to say is in regards to your potential. You don't need to beat Wayne Gretzky. You don't need to be Wayne Gretzky. You don't need to be Haley Wickenheiser. You just need to be the best you. That's what I love about that equation. Performance equals your potential minus. Isn't that a good word? Interference. So really the question, moms and dads, the question, athletes, is what is the interference in your life today? See, so many of us, it's right here. What voice comes to the center, comes to the top when you're competing to be your best? What voice grabs you when you are doing an exam at school? What voice comes into your head when you're out in the world trying to add value to people? That's the key. And here's the cool thing. You decide what voice that is. Is it the voice of fear? I can. Is it the voice of anger? Can't believe they put me in this position. I'm not that way. Is it the championship voice that steps up and says, you know what? Independent of what happens, I'm going to do the best I can be today. And you roll out. There's a guy that you need to Google. Your mom and dad will know. His name's Harry Houdini. And I told some of you last year about Houdini. Houdini had a standing offer that anywhere in the world he could escape from jail. Pretty good lifestyle. Just kidding, just kidding. Cost him getting in trouble for that. Just kidding. So Houdini gets called involved in northern Scotland. And in northern Scotland, they got this brand new jail. They want to have Houdini in for a PR thing. So Houdini comes in. I didn't know this. When I read the book, I found out you had to let Houdini walk in his cities, close the door, leave for 40 minutes, and when you came back, he was out. Harry Houdini had never not escaped. Northern Scotland, they let him walk in, close the door, and everybody leaves for 40 minutes. Now, what I didn't know about Houdini, he wasn't a great escape artist, he was a great boss. He had to get it in his belt. He had a little piece of metal, he pulled the metal out, and in those days, the locks weren't very sophisticated. He could pick any lock in the world. He's working a lot. Northern Scotland, everybody's gone. He's working a lot. 38 minutes later, sweating, frustrated. Anybody ever been angry? Angry! You can't get the lock. 40 minutes later, everybody comes back. They caught me inside. Yes! We caught him! Northern Scotland's the best. And with that, Harry Houdini, frustrated, leans on the door. And the door opens. You see, the door has never been locked. There's only one place that door was locked. In the belief system of Harry Houdini. You see, if you believe the door is locked, you're right. If you believe you're a bad player, you're right. The belief system is everything. That's why we love when you come and you're hungry to learn, and you get on the ice and you're full of enthusiasm like this morning, and you just can't wait to do something better, to be the best you can be, because that's really your life. That's what gives you and your parents the most amazing life. Because you know what I guarantee leaders now? I do leadership development all over the world. I guarantee leaders problem. You know, ask your moms and dads. The only thing that's going to be similar in every family between today and next month is problems. Our family's been through, you can ask Joe, our family's been through the toughest 3 years of our life. Gotta keep moving, right? Gotta make it good. Gotta be hungry. It's not gonna get me enough. So, this is really the part I gotta say, folks. You know, Mark and Carrie and I are 54 years old. That's like, we played hockey in the mid-40s, I think. Old days. But I'll tell you what, we're hungry. And we're still learning. We learn from you. And that's why we love these camps. So mental topics. So performance equals potential minus interference. So I want to have some fun around sort of interference. Did you know there's a new study out in Virginia? And they found, it was actually a motor vehicle study, and they wanted to know what happened 3 seconds before every car crash in Virginia. So they only had 1,000 cars, 1,000 of these opportunities, but they put these little cameras in the top roof of 1,000 cars in Virginia. And they found out what happens 3 seconds before every car crash in Virginia. People were texting. I guess. People were on the phone. I gotta stop moving. People were eating a sandwich. People were turning the radio up or down. In other words, people were distracted. If you want your life to crash, be distracted. See, there's the key component. You want to be the best of the best. You want to make the national women's team. I won't be there to coach you because they kicked me out, man. I love that place. But I had a chance to go to be the president of the Heat, so I had to choose that over the national women's team. But I got to tell you, if you want to be at that level, if you want to be at the best you can be, when you come, have yourself have a way to prepare to not be distracted. You see, the best, what I'm looking for when I hire employees, I'm hiring people that are hungry, and I'm hiring people that are prepared to be their best. I can teach them the rest, right? I can teach you, if we spend a year with you, I can teach you to be at the national women's level. So could he. Right? We had a year. Well, here's the key. I'm only about one. Number two, you got to prepare. So think about the distractions in your life. You know, it's funny, my mom and dad are so bright. They taught me everything I needed to know about life. I remember, I don't remember what game Carrie might have been in Pee Wee. We were in a tournament, and I ended up getting 3 at 5 goals. I don't even remember what tournament it was. But I remember being a cocky little kid, probably Carrie remembered, little guys. I remember putting my bag in the trunk, putting my stick in the trunk, and I sat in the back seat, and I'm thinking, okay, Mom and Dad must be pretty proud of me. Hey, like 3 of 5 goals, we win the tournament, this is amazing, this is cool. And I'm thinking, what are they going to say? And I'm sitting in the back seat, and I'm circling, I haven't quite got humble yet in my life. My mom and dad get in the front seat, they turn to me, and I'm thinking, here it comes, baby! Like, this is going to be unbelievable! They look back at me, and they say some words that I was disappointed in. They said, boy, did the team ever play well today? What do you mean the team? It was about me, baby. Oh, really, they were right. The goalie made the save. The D took a hit to bump the puck to the winger who centered off the ball so I could have it. Everything I needed to know about life, I learned from the game of hockey. You have such an advantage. This is why today we wanted to talk to you about mental toughness. So, one of the things that can be an interference in our life to be our best is distraction. Agreed? Have a sense of where you want to go. There's another study out years ago at Yale University. They took the graduating class of Yale, and they asked them 2 questions. I like 2. I had some concussions. I can remember 2. First question, do you know exactly what you want? Second question, have you written down on a piece of paper a plan to get it? Do you know that only 3% of the graduating class of Yale that year in the 70s knew exactly what they wanted in life and had written down on a piece of paper a way to get it? They followed those people for 25 years. Not that money or wealth is everything, but that 3% had accumulated more wealth in their lifetime than the 97% was. I'm not worried about money. When I was a kid, I used to be very impressed with people who created $1 billion in their lifetime. I'm less impressed now. Very, very much less impressed. I'm not impressed with that. People who conquered cancer and had a great life. People that have gone through hard times and have come out the other end. That's what I'm impressed with. So think about that, folks. So the first distraction, the first interference can be distraction. Agreed? My mom, just to go back to Mom, I remember Mom saying this, nothing against you ladies, but I remember my mom saying this, and she said, she had a funny way of saying stuff. We'd be in the car, and we're talking about playing and laying, and Mom just sort of slipped it in. You mothers are good at this. Just sort of slipped it in. You know, Ryan, you probably can't play in the NHL and have a girlfriend, too. What a smart mom I had. It wasn't about girls, it was about time. Like, who are you going to dedicate yourself to from the years of 15 through 18? No, there's a window, agreed, ladies? You got a window. You can't say there's not a window. Because if you want to do some things with your hockey career, there's a window. And you go in, you be the best you can be, and if it works out, cool. And if it doesn't, go on and be something else. Be a doctor or a lawyer or something. Okay? So, distraction. Number 2 for me, as I've been thinking about sort of what we're going to talk about, is this, it won't surprise you, but this word focus. The greatest in the world found a way to In other words, we have a great saying in hockey. It says, he comes to play. If someone ever says that about you, she comes to play. What it means is that every night you bring your best game. I've never seen a guy like Gretzky. Every night he was driven to be his best. And he was. Like, it wasn't his skill that made him best. It was his hungry spirit to be the best that he could be. When I think of focus, I don't often talk about Tiger Woods anymore. I used to talk about him a lot. But I got to give you one story about Tiger. So, Scotty Bowman, hungry, and I say this very carefully because I'm not here to sell anything, but if you're interested, it's just hungryfuelingYourBestGame.com or it's RyanWalter.com. It's real simple. And it is a book that talks about inner game, outer game, team game. So I would recommend it to you if you're interested in reading about these. But more than that, so that's our fifth book. We wrote a book about coaching. We interviewed 12 NHL coaches. One of the coaches was Scotty Bowman. Now you need to Google Scotty Bowman. Ask your mom and dad about Scotty Bowman. Best coach ever in, potentially all time in hockey. So I got to the end of the interview, and Scotty said, "Man," he's like a little kid. He said, "Ryan, can I tell you this story? I've waited to tell you this story." He said, "You didn't know this." He said, "But I have always wanted to score a PGA game." He loved golf. And so the PGA found this out, and the PGA came close to Detroit, and the PGA gave Scotty Bowman Tiger Woods' foursome for the whole day. So he was inside the rope. He was 25 feet away from Tiger for the whole match. He's writing down the scores. He's like a little kid. He can't wait. So they get to the end of the day, and Tiger goes into the score tent. I don't know too much about this, but apparently you got to add up your scores and all that. And Scotty comes in to the front of the tent and then walks through. Tiger and Scotty knew each other from the past. They've done banquets together. And as Scotty walks through the door, Tiger Woods turns and he looks at him. He says, "Scotty, where'd you come from?" Think about that, athletes. Scotty Bowman was 25 feet away from Tiger Woods for the whole day. He never saw him. When we're in the zone, right? We're the best we can be because we're prepared, we're not distracted, and we're focused on being honest. You know that as athletes, you see that's the advantage that you have over people that maybe don't play sports. And I say that very carefully. You have a chance to get in that zone, to figure it out, to think about your focus. Scotty Bowman, Tiger Woods, right or wrong, not a good example anymore. Best in the world, because he had a focus. His energy was all going in one direction. I also want to fire at you some ideas around how to do it. And I've been learning. I read a great book recently. I love to read. I got a chance to go back to school. I hope everybody here absolutely adores school. I just hope. Because, whether it's now in your life or it's a little later in your life, please be a learner. See, I got a chance to go back at 45 and do a master's degree in leadership business. And those 3 years were the best years of my life. Better than winning the Stanley Cup, better than playing in the NHL. Because I can't wait to learn. I've read about, I think, another 50 books since that time on leadership. I just read 5 great books in the last year that I would highly recommend. One of them is called The Power of Habit by a guy by the name of Houdin. Can't forget Houdin. Habit, Houdin. And here's what he says. This is so cool. So really, what's between you and your potential are your habits. Ask mom and dad. We do things habitually. And here's what they said. It's so cool. We get cued. Like, for example, you come into the ring, boom, your brain goes, ooh, I gotta get in the dressing room, I gotta get dressed, I'm ready for the game. You get cued. The second is that you have a routine. The third is you get rewarded. You know, it's very cool. People, organizations like Alcoholics Anonymous use this system. So, I gotta tell you my story. I'm working with the heat, and I have long days, and I get tired, and then I drive home. So I get on the highway, and I get off on the Fraser Highway, and right there on the left, as I get off on the Fraser Highway, is the Otter Co-op. Now, my truck goes like this, shoo! Like it's just automatic. I see Otter Co-op, I get cued, and my truck goes, shoo! Like it just drives in there on its own. Because when I'm tired, when I'm driving home at 7 o'clock at night, I want cheesies. I gotta have cheesies. Right? So my truck goes like this, shoo! And I go in, and I get the cheesies. And then I drive home, and I munch on cheesies, and I'm hungry. It's so good. You gotta try it. But there's a problem. That's the problem. I gotta stop eating cheesies. So, I read the book. You know what's cool? You can't change the first, and you can't change the last. So, I'm driving down the Fraser Highway, what happens? My truck goes, shoot! I can't help it. It just goes in there. Then, aha, I gotta think. I can change the routine. It's the only thing you got a chance to change. So when my truck goes, shoot, and I go in, now I go and have this really nice, large mint tea. You see, I love mint tea. And mint tea is good for me, like it doesn't put the weight. Then I get in the truck, drink my mint tea, and get rewarded. So here's your challenge. What routines will you change? This, shoot, won't change. The rower, won't change. What do you have to put in the middle? You know, I think about it, when I was playing in the National Hockey League, like, you are good to get to the National Hockey League, but getting to the National Hockey League is easy. Staying in the National Hockey League is not so easy. So, when I got to the National Hockey League, I thought, okay, I got nothing to do but play hockey. And you know, I used to be on the ice in practice. I used to go 2 hours before anybody else. I had nothing to do, just a kid. And I'd be an hour on the ice before anybody else. Sometimes before guys got to do it. Why not? Working on my wrist shot, working on my slap shot. I was hungry. I got to Montreal. I got traded to Montreal Canadiens. By the way, I don't know if some of your parents remember that headline. Worst trade in NHL history. When I flew into Dorval Airport, that was the headline in the Montreal Gazette. How do you think we felt? We're green. Felt like shriveling up. We talk about mental toughness. So, why did I do that? I lost my train of thought. Where was I, Garrett?
Your flight in Dorval.
Oh, I know, before that. Sure, oh yeah, thank you. Thank you. I get into Montreal, and thank you. And I try to get on the ice before everybody else. I can't get on the ice before this one player. He's my roommate. I try to get there earlier. I can't get on, he's up there earlier. I can't get on the ice before him. His name is Guy Lafleur. You see, the best of the best, here's the key. Don't have to do it. The best of the best don't have to practice. The best of the best don't have to go to school. The best of the best don't have to be nice to people. The best of the best want to practice. The best of the best want to go to school. The best of the best want to add value to people. Change your have-tos into want-tos. You can have an amazing life. But if someone has to stand over you and say, you have to do your homework, you have to go to practice, it's a bit of a heads up. But you need to change your focus. A guy by the name of Claude Well, you need to Google Claude Well. You guys have a lot of homework to do, you see that? You have to Google all these guys. Claude Well was a coach for the Montreal Canadiens before I got there. And Claude used to work us. You know that practice we just went through? He used to do that for us in August so that we'd be ready for training. But Claude, I don't know if you knew this, but Claude only has one eye. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Spirit. Claude only had one eye. He lost his right eye at pucking when he was a player. He only had one eye. So, at the end of every practice in August, to get us ready for training camp, Claude would stand at center ice, like in the old days. He'd have his whistle. He'd look down this way, and the deal was when he blew his whistle, you had to skate a hard, complete lap. And then you could coast. You do that 20, 30 times, you get in shape. So Claude would look down this way, blow his whistle. Now, some young players used to join our group in August to see, to get up to speed with us before they went to they were hoping to make our team. Claude Well only had one eye. And they knew. You see, I did this little experiment. Started watching some of the young kids who were trying to make our team. I called it one-eye performance. You see, here's what you could do if you're a young player and you knew that Claude only had one eye. You could blow the whistle, skate hard, skate hard, skate hard. Coast. 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 Skate hard, skate hard, skate hard. Coast. On my little experiment, I watched the kids that cheated. And there's an interesting thing. I noticed that not one of the kids that cheated on code ever made our team. See, it's the difference between extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. Nobody has to tell you what to do. You have to want to do it. And if you want to do it, you can do, ladies, you can do anything you want. You can be anybody in your life. But if someone has to tell you to do it, and they have to hold a stick over you to whack you when you don't do it, and they have to hold a carrot up for you to move to work, get a new job. Go to a new school. Do something. Because it's got to come from the inside.